Hello and welcome to Yoga with Carolynne. My name is Carolynne. If this is your first time here to my channel, welcome. So lovely to have you here. And if it's not your first time here, welcome back, lovely. So today's full body Yin Yoga practice is your invitation to explore stillness. So whether you are a first-time Yin Yoga practitioner or you've been practicing this style for a while, this practice will absolutely be a supportive practice for you, where you can explore maybe the weirdness and the discomfort that comes along with stillness, and also the magic and the beauty and sometimes the necessity of inviting stillness into not only your practice, but also your life. So roll out your yoga mat, put on your comfy clothes, grab your props, and let's get started. Welcome to Yoga with Carolynne, teaching empaths and sensitive souls just like you how to create a collaborative relationship with your body through cozy, accessible yoga and self-care practices in order to live a life filled with less doing and more being. So we're going to be starting today's Yin Yoga practice in a comfortable seat. So when I say comfortable, I absolutely and truly mean comfortable. So you'll notice that I have something underneath of my sit bones. This is like a foolproof way. If you know that you struggle with being seated on the ground for prolonged periods of time, it's just like uncomfortable in the knees, the low back, the hips, then use some sort of prop that you might have. So maybe that's a bolster, maybe that's a folded up blanket or a cushion, and really make sure that this feels comfortable. If seated cross-legged doesn't feel comfortable, then you can start this practice seated on the couch or the edge of the bed or a chair. You'll also notice that I have a blanket and I've got a couple of yoga blocks for today's practice. These props are all optional. They are not mandatory for today's practice, but they are going to be very helpful. So if you do have some sort of props that you can use around the house, then I would suggest that you grab them. So with all of that said, I'll ask that once you settle into your comfortable seat, you allow the hands to rest onto the lap, on the knees, wherever the hands meet comfortably, wherever it just feels kind of right. Not forced, not what you think it should be, literally just what feels right. So maybe that's palm face down on the knees, palms open up towards the sky, or the hands simply resting on the lap. And then once you've found that shape, and if it feels comfortable, allowing the eyes to come to a close. If it doesn't feel comfortable to bring the eyes to a close, that's okay. You can just bring some softness to the gaze and the floor right in front of you. So if you are new to the Yin Yoga practice, know that this practice is going to encompass quite a lot of stillness, quite a lot of pausing, and quite a lot of silence. So if right away, when you close the eyes and you settle into the beginning of the class, you notice some discomfort, you notice some things that maybe you were focusing on before the practice, or some things that you were worrying about, or some stuff that you have to do after the class. If you notice that right away within the stillness that begins to bubble up, take a moment to maybe offer yourself a soft smile, some compassion and understanding that that's okay. That's what we're here to explore today. During the practice, I'll offer you some tools in which you can use in order to navigate that. So that then you can really tap into that stillness and see what happens under the surface of the stillness. So as you begin, you just allow yourself to arrive intentionally. So your physical body is here, your sit bones are grounded on the floor or on the support beneath your body. taking a moment to also notice not only how your physical body has arrived and that you're here, the reality of that, but also how you've shown up mentally and emotionally. The thing about our normal daily lives is that there tends to be a lot of rushing and moving and busyness and doing. And that sometimes, not always, but sometimes, that can be a distraction. So then when you pause and you find stillness, you then notice, whoa, there's a lot going on in here that I haven't been paying attention to. So send yourself some love. Send yourself some reassurance that you're safe, that you're welcome here. That however it is that you have shown up is welcome here. Now allow your awareness to tap into the breath. Changing the breath or wanting it to be a different way, just start by listening, feeling and paying attention to the way that you breathe right now. And then if it would feel supportive for you right now, you can begin to call in a breath that feels a bit more supportive. So maybe that means breathing a little deeper, breathing a little slower, breathing with a bit more expansion. What would it feel like for you to send the breath deeper down into the torso, taking up a bit more space in your body as you breathe in and as you breathe out? It's okay if it takes a few breaths to find a rhythm that feels right for you. Sometimes for me, it takes the entire length of the class. That's okay too. Allowing that exploration of your breath act as an anchor in your practice. Act as an anchor within this stillness. So you can keep the eyes closed. If the eyes are closed here, I'll be really descriptive in the words that I use, or you're also welcome to softly open up into the eyes. The next few movements we'll take will allow some softness and some space to be created in the neck. So from here, eyes closed or eyes open, you'll take an inhale. On the exhale, dropping the chin down towards the chest. Take a moment here to pause. Notice what you feel in the back line of your neck, along the sides of your neck. Would it feel good for you to drop the shoulders down away from the ears a little bit more, sliding the shoulder blades down the back? And then on your next inhale, you'll roll the left ear towards the left shoulder, finding a stretch along the right side of the neck. Exhale to drop the chin back down towards the chest. The inhale rolls the right ear towards the right shoulder, stretching on the left side of the neck this time. We'll do that one more time. Exhale as you bring the chin back down towards the chest. Inhale as you roll over. Exhale as you drop that chin back down. Inhale, rolling over towards the right. And then exhale as you drop the chin back down. On the next inhale, rolling the left ear towards the left shoulder. And you're going to be here for about a minute or so. So before I start the time, take a moment to choose where you'd like to place the chin. So it's literally just a matter of where you hold tension in your neck. So maybe the chin closer up towards the sky, or the chin closer down towards your shoulder. So find a spot where you really find sensation. And then I'll give you a few different options as to what you can do with the arms. So maybe you found a stretch that feels really good and you want to stay here. So then stay right here. If you'd like to explore a bit more, you can reach the right fingertips down towards the floor. Or you can play with the position of where the fingertips go. So without moving the arm, just bending at the wrist, the fingertips reach up toward the sky. Last option would be to lift into the left hand. Left hand gets placed on the top of your head. Without pulling the head down towards the shoulder, you're simply using the weight of the hand to find that stretch. So again, all of these are just options, opportunities to explore a bit more. And then pause. Settle back into that stillness. From here, you'll take one more inhale. On the exhale, drop that chin back down towards the chest. From here, you can stay exactly where you are. Maybe you just want to pause here with the chin staying right where it is. Or if you'd like to find a stretch in the front line of your neck before we come into the shape on the other side. Like you're carving a line with the tip of your nose. Reach the tip of your nose up towards the sky. So you're not crunching or collapsing in the back of the neck, the cervical spine. You're instead finding length in the back as well as in the front line of your neck. Doesn't matter where the gaze goes, maybe it's up towards the sky, or maybe it's more towards where like the wall and the ceiling meet right in front of you. One more inhale where you are. And then bringing yourself back up into neutral. So dropping the chin down or bringing the gaze back up from wherever you are. Beautiful. And then we'll come back down. So dropping the chin back down towards the chest. Then on your next inhale, rolling the right ear towards the right shoulder. So just to reiterate the options here. So first you'll start by finding where do you want to place the chin. So closer towards the shoulder or reaching the chin up towards the sky a bit more. One option is not better than the other. They're literally just ways for you to explore. Where are you holding tension or tightness along the left side of your neck? And how can you find a spot that feels really right for you? And then the options with the arms would be they stay where they are. Or you reach the left hand down towards the floor, away from the left hip. You could play with the position of the fingertips, so maybe you want to reach the fingertips up towards the sky. You can also play with placing the right hand on the top of the head, the simple just weight of the hand and the arm acting as a bit more into finding that stretch. And then we'll be here for about a minute or so. Take one more inhale here. And then on the exhale, dropping the chin back down towards the chest. And then from here, placing the hand on the forehead to just lift the head back up into neutral. Dropping the hands beside you or behind you just so that you can extend the legs in front of you. We're going to be coming into a forward fold next. Before you come into that stretch, however, it'll probably feel good to just release those legs for a moment so you can bring the hands wherever they meet comfortably with the floor, placing the soles of the feet onto the mat, and then just allow the knees to fall from side to side. And then coming back into center, you'll get ready to come into a straight-legged forward fold. So I'm going to turn just so that you can get a better angle from the side here. And then I'm going to give you quite a few different options in terms of how you can really navigate this shape. So for myself, I really like to make sure that I've got all of my props ready to go. So if you are seated on your bolster or your cushion, I would suggest that you get off of that and then you place your folded up blanket underneath of your sit bones. So still finding support underneath of your sit bones, but it will be helpful to have that bolster once you come down into the forward fold. If you don't have a bolster during today's practice, no sweat, all good. I'll offer you a few different other ways you can do it if you don't have the bolster. So you've got the legs in front of you and you're seated on that support beneath you, and you kind of scoot yourself forward so that you're barely on the support, but you've got a little bit of a tilt in the low back. So legs are straight in front of you. There's 3 different options that you can explore here. So maybe you practice the really traditional way to come into the shape. Legs are straight and you simply bring yourself forward and down. The palms are open towards the sky as you allow the forehead to reach down towards the legs. Notice that I didn't say the forehead is touching the legs because it doesn't matter. So there's a few different things that might happen in the body once you come into the shape. One thing that might happen is that you feel like you don't quite have enough space to find that forward fold. So if that's the case, bring yourself up and then find a lazy V. So the feet are as wide as the yoga mat, but they don't have to be quite that wide. And then you might feel that you've got a little bit more space to bring yourself forward and down. And then once you get there, you can place blocks underneath of the forehead in whatever structure will work for you. So that's one way that you can support yourself in the shape here. Or if you've got your bolster, a nice way to support yourself here would be to place your block in its highest height, and then your bolster is between your legs, creating this little type of ramp for your torso, so that then you bring yourself all the way down onto that bolster. The other thing that might happen in the body is that your low back doesn't feel so good. So your second option would be to find a really big bend into the legs, and then your entire torso is fully supported on the thighs, grabbing hold of the outer edges of the feet or the ankles. And then as you explore the shape, because we're going to be here for a few minutes, you can slowly but surely straighten into the legs, making sure that the torso stays fully in contact with the thighs the entire time. Okay, that was a lot of words, a lot of exploring. So now let's come into the shape. So find how you'd like to practice the shape, bring your props into it. And we'll take an inhale to find length into the spine. And exhale as you bring yourself forward and down. Bring whatever props that will be helpful here underneath of your forehead, underneath of your torso. And then we'll be in this shape for about 4 minutes. So if 4 minutes sounds like a really long time, that's okay. And we're here with you, practicing this together. This is your chance to explore what can happen within the stillness. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the practice, we tend to live very busy and full lives, which for some, maybe that is a welcome thing. Or for some, maybe that feels like a lot. Maybe you feel like you're constantly trying to keep up. If that's the case for you, that is where the practice of exploring stillness can be something that is so incredibly beneficial and powerful. But when I say a practice, I really mean that it is absolutely a practice. That at first, because it can be something that's so foreign and so unpracticed, that it can feel uncomfortable. Maybe your brain decides that you've got better things to do, other things that are pressing. So at first we explore sitting with that. Noticing that those are just thoughts. They're not necessarily true. Sensing into the discomfort of just being here. It's okay if it feels weird. It's okay if it feels uncomfortable, or that you notice that there's emotions like frustration or boredom or annoyance beginning to bubble up. If it feels helpful and nourishing for you, allow your awareness to catch on to your breath. That same breath that you found at the very beginning of the practice. Watch as that breath moves in and out of the body. You'll take one more inhale here. One last full and entire exhale here. And then from here, you'll flip the palms back down towards the floor if the palms were flipped up towards the sky. Really, really slowly. You've been here for a while. You'll walk the hands in. The head is the very last thing to come up. Then once you get there, nice counter pose will be to bring the hands behind you, pressing into the palms of the hands to allow the heart to shine up towards the sky. Take a second here to point the toes or flex the toes or circle into the ankles. And then releasing that shape. You move your props out of the way, make sure that they're still nearby, and then making your way onto your back. Once you make your way onto your back, especially after a forward fold, it'll probably feel good to have a bend into the legs, the soles of the feet on the mat, and then just knock the knees in towards each other. In order to really stay within in terms of your focus and your awareness, you can bring the palms face down onto the belly as you stay aware of the breath as it's still there, moving in and out of the body. So we've explored some upper back, some neck stretches. We've explored some stretches for the low back, for the legs in the last shape. Now we'll bring some attention to the hips. So from here, you'll be exploring a half happy baby pose. So if the knees are knocked in towards each other, allow your knees to now come in line with your hips. So your feet are in line with your hips as well as your knees. And then you'll pick up into the right leg and bring the right knee in towards the chest. So start here with just having hands behind the left thigh or on the top of the knee or the shin. And I'm going to give you two different options to practice this half happy baby pose. Option one would be to place the left hand onto the left hip bone. Right hand opens the right knee out towards the side. You'll still find a stretch here in the hips and the inner groin. Or option two would be to pull that knee in a little bit closer and then allow the arm to come on the inside of the right knee, grab hold of the outer edge of the right foot, and then slowly pull that right knee in towards the armpit. And come back into the stillness. So yes, at first there is that discomfort or even just that strangeness of the stillness, of it being something that you're not used to, or it being something that feels so foreign that it feels almost frivolous to the point that maybe it feels unnecessary. So within the practice of still staying within it, within whatever might come up within the stillness, eventually what might happen is that you begin to soften into it. Soften into this space where nobody's asking you to do anything. Softening into this energy, this space that is very opposite of what you've been told that you need to do all the time, which is what the whole Yin Yoga practice is about, right? Balancing out the very yang energies of life. In order to still be able to show up for all of the things that you do in your life. This stillness can be a place where you recharge, where you pause and you check in with yourself. We'll take one more inhale here. And on the exhale, you'll release that shape, bringing the sole of the foot back down onto the floor. Pause here. Before coming into the shape on the other side, you'll be coming into a twist. So you'll press into the soles of the feet to lift the hips up and slide them over towards the right side of your mat. Bring the hips back down. The knees come in towards the chest, and then the knees fall towards the left side of your space. So once you get there, your options in terms of supports would be that you can place a bolster in between your knees, or you can place a block in between the knees. Opening the arms up into a T shape with the palms open towards the sky, or you can also place the left hand on the outside of the right knee. The gaze can remain up towards the sky, or the gaze can be looking towards the right hand. The eyes come back to a close if they had opened up, if that feels okay. And then stillness. The beauty of the Yin Yoga practice is that the stillness is actually more the point. It's a lot less about the ultimate attainment of these poses, getting to a certain destination in these poses, and instead a lot more about the combination of stillness and awareness. Take one last inhale here. One last exhale here. From here, you'll slowly bring the gaze back into center, lift one knee, lift the other knee, scooch those hips back into center, and then pause. To come into the happy baby pose or half happy baby pose on the other side. So soles of the feet are still on the mat. You pick up into the left leg to just hug that knee in towards the chest for a moment. And then option one is you slide the right hand onto the right hip bone, open the left knee out towards the side. That's your first option. Second option would be to allow the arm to come on the inside of that left knee, grabbing hold of the outer edge of the left foot, and then slowly bringing that knee in towards the armpit. And again, I say towards. I don't even know if you could anatomically really allow that knee to touch the armpit. So we're just in that general direction. If you find that your mind is beginning to wander, that's okay. Minds wander, that's what they're built to do. Allow your awareness, whether or not the mind is doing its thing or not, it doesn't really matter, but your awareness travels back into the sensation or back into the breath. You'll be here for one more inhale. And then on the exhale, you'll release. Bring the sole of the left foot down towards the floor. Take a second to pause. And coming into that twist on the other side, so you press into the feet. Lift the hips, slide the hips over towards the left, bring them down. Knees come in towards the chest, and then allow the knees to fall towards the right. Placing a block in between the knees or underneath of the knees. Opening up into a T shape with the arms, the palms open towards the sky. You can place right hand on the top of that left knee, or rather on the outside of the left thigh. What can be explored within the stillness? Over time, could this practice of stillness be one that ends up being a welcoming experience? Especially if you are somebody who tends to get overwhelmed or take on a lot of energies, a lot of other people's emotions. Life can be a lot. Life can be fast and it can be loud for a lot of us. What can the practice of stillness offer you in support of being able to navigate life with a bit more ease. I'm not here necessarily to offer you the answers to those questions, but instead the practices and the tools to be able to navigate those questions for yourself. Take one last inhale. One last exhale. And then slowly bringing yourself back into center. Bring the knees in towards the chest. Hug those knees in. And then extending into the legs. Coming into your comfortable shape for final relaxation. You could place a bolster or a rolled up blanket under your knees, or you can cover your body with a blanket. The palms are open towards the sky. The eyelids get heavy. This pose being the real and true invitation to find stillness. I would love for you to stay in this shape for as long as you need in order for you to explore what your practice of stillness feels and looks like for you. This is where I leave you for today. Thank you so very much for practicing with me. From my heart to yours, and until next time, namaste.